Alright, today we are installing the back windshield on the Can-Am Commander. You could potentially install this by yourself. I would not recommend it. It's very hard. I did it myself and it wasn't very easy. So I would just recommend grabbing somebody else. Your windshield is going to come to you like this. This is basically what it's going to look like. You may need to lift your roof off to get the bottom clamp on, then reset your roof back down, just depending upon what kind of hard top you've got. Oh, the top clamp. Sorry, I did just say the bottom clamp. So your top clamp here may be a little bit of a challenge to get with the roof on, but usually you can just release those brackets on the back, tilt the roof up a little bit. It's not really too hard. So your windshield's going to come to you like this. This is kind of the shape that it is. Plastic's not going to look like this, and this plastic kind of got jacked up. And your little instruction kit that comes with your 7 clamps and the bolts and nuts, everything you need. The only thing you'll need extra is a Phillips head screwdriver and a 7/16 inch wrench. Now, if you have any questions about how your windshield fits or before you tear any protective plastic off, make sure that you like how the windshield fits and sets on your vehicle, because once you remove this protective plastic, you own the windshield. So do not peel this off unless you want this windshield and you're happy with everything on it. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off because I know I'm happy. And so it's because when we lay this up here, we can't keep, you could kind of peel it back off of the holes, but man, it'd be a bugger peeling it all off. So I just make sure you got it right to begin with. Again, kind of helpful to have somebody extra there. So I'm going to have Brandon help me here in a second. What we're going to do is we're going to set this guy right up here, and where it helps, like I say, to have a second person, we want to peel this plastic just past this hole here. Kind of want to do one side and then the opposite side because, hang on a second. Okay. You want to set your 2 bottom clamps first. The bottom clamps, make sure your plastic's peeled away far enough there. The big point on that one is that it helps to get it all centered properly. If you start putting, if you just notice, Brandon just shifted that windshield to his side. It's hard if you put the brackets all on one side. It's hard to shift it over to the other side to get it centered. Where in going ahead and doing it this way, then you keep your windshield relatively well centered. So just one at a time is basically what we want to do. We want to get these all finger tight, and if you're struggling with that, as Brandon was over there, which is okay, it's too hard. Move your bracket up a little bit like this. Slide it upwards. If you have it straight across, like when I go to tighten this down, I'm going to set that clamp straight across. But because of the way the roll bar is angled, if you tilt it up just slightly, it gives you a little bit more leeway on the bracket. And then once you get it on there, just pull it over like that. You good over there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to set this other one. Brandon doesn't do a lot of home improvement projects. Getting the washer and the nut on at the same time.
At the same time
is kicking his butt.
I'm in the I'm in a pressure situation.
Okay, I'm just gonna do this like I was doing it before, which we're trying not to block the video, but
Just need the freaking nut.
I got it. You just worry about putting that on.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, it's on. It's at least on.
Once we get that all set, and this is the area where you may, like on your roof, you may need to cut your foam just a hair across your roof. You know, if you've got that foam pad, you may just need to cut a small little notch in the foam so as to allow your clamp to wrap around there. Once we get that on, you're gonna cinch that down tight. A couple things we always say: do not use Loctite. Destroys plastic, voids your warranty. Don't over tighten the bolts. You just need to secure them nice and tight. They've got the lock nuts on them. All those things just make it so that your windshield has no issues. Because if you compress too hard, you can get little cracks. So if you over tighten, that is. So secure it tight and then just tighten that back bolt up just to good hair right there. Get your bracket nice and straight. And as I was saying before, the part of it, a little bit of a challenge, is you're flexing this windshield to a certain extent to get it to push up against this roll bar. Reason it's designed that way is as you flex Lexan like that, it actually makes it more rigid, and so it'll make this sit tighter, and that's why I did it that way, is so that it was, when it's done, it's a nice solid piece, and that flex in there really makes it just tightens it up so much more. So it's part where there's a little bit of a challenge, and maybe a little more of a challenge in the installation process. Another extra minute or two to install it, but in the end, your long-term benefits of it far outweigh those couple of minutes. If you also notice, that's just flexing that, making that really nice and taut, so that, because you don't have anything to hook this bottom to. Gives you a little bit of an air gap through here, which is, in my world, is a good thing, because no air circulation, unless you have an total enclosed cab, means you're just going to eat more dust. So you need some air circulation coming through it. So this gives you a nice airflow, still allows you to put all your stuff here in the back. Doesn't take up much space at all. And there we go. All solid. That's part, like I say, part of how you get this rigidity into it is through flexing it a little bit in combination with the bend. So it gives you a nice solid back windshield, nice, keep you good and safe, and a little bit cleaner maybe. The most important things with these kind of windshields, if you bought the non-mar resistant back windshield, which personally I would probably, if I was buying one for my own, would buy that very one, because it's not quite like the front windshields. You don't need to look through it as much, so cleaning it while you're out on the trail, it's not a good idea. If you want to clean your back windshield on the trail, you need to have a mar resistant back windshield. You will scratch it. There is really no way to clean this properly without using a hose or power washer, what have you, when you're out on the trail, because you'd really want to rinse this off with water first. That's the very most important thing with Lexans, is to rinse them off with water first before you clean them off, which I just don't know how you could properly do that on the trail. So that's my big thing, is that I would clean my back windshield when I get home and I'm washing my vehicle. Along with that, other than that, you know, never use Windex on your products. Never use Loctite, as I mentioned before. Secure it tightly. That's basically all you need to do. It'll just be good to go from there. So go out and have fun. Thanks for your business.